All right, ILHC. Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. My name is Ryan Swift. I am the coordinator for the LED Talks. This is the jewel event of the LED Talks this year, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure many of you are concerned as well, as many as you are here. I can tell that's actually true. So, I don't want to take up too much time. I will introduce the Legends of Lindy Hop panel right now. Our moderator will be the wonderful Naomi Uyama. And the amazing women behind me, I assure you, need no introduction, but Ms. Norma Miller. Who knows how to control a room? Ms. Jean Veloz. And the lovely Ms. Sugar Sullivan. So without any further ado, I will turn this over to the lovely Naomi Uyama. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Everyone give it up for Ryan Swift, coordinating all of these LED talks, giving us this special kind of programming at ILHC, making it more than just a contest weekend. His name is Ryan Swift. All right. That's all right. And it seems like, just like Ryan said, this is the jewel of the LED talk, so we're standing room only. Can you guys push in and come around the side? You guys can stand against this wall and you won't be blocking anyone. You can sit on the floor like Lindy Hoppers if you like. We just want to make sure everyone gets a chance to hear these lovely ladies talk. Again, my name is Naomi and I feel very privileged and a bit bewildered why I get to sit up here at the same table with these ladies. And like Ryan said, they need no introduction, but you know, here at ILHC, we've got a real mix of dancers from all over the world, and some people who started years ago and some people who just started a moment ago here at ILHC. So I would like to go down the line and just start out briefly by, if you could say your name and when you started dancing. If you can pinpoint what year you started dancing, I think it would really blow people away. So we'll start with Miss Norma Miller. You got your own mic. Each lady has their own mic, so you can fight for mic time.
When did I start dancing, or when did I start Lindy Hop?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? We should say Lindy Hop because we're at the International Lindy Hop Championships, and also because I know all of you ladies have probably been dancing from since before you can remember. So let's say when you first started Lindy hopping, when you first did a swing out, and you can just get it close.
1932.
All right. This is Norma Miller. And you started in Harlem, am I correct? Harlem, New York, USA? I just want to tell them, I know that you started in Harlem. Don't look at me like that. We have to see it because we have some different ladies on the panel. Jean, can you just say your name, when you started Lindy hopping, and where you started Lindy hopping? Yeah.
Name, Jean Veloz. Let's see now. It was in Lindy hopping from Dean Collins. He taught us. He brought it from Harlem, naturally, and it was early 40s. I came from my little town of Santa Maria into Hollywood, the Magic Land, and that's where I was introduced to Lindy Hop by Dean Collins.
Okay.
It's great.
Sugar?
Hi, I'm Sugar Sullivan. I started Lindy Hopping in Harlem in 1944.
All right. All right. So we've got a lot of experience up here on this panel. Now, I was very nervous to do this panel because I was like, oh, what do I say to them? What do I say to them? But then when I thought about it, I was very excited to just get to ask you guys about your Lindy Hop lives. So I'm just going to go down the line again, if that's okay, and ask you some questions that I would love to know about how you started dancing. Okay. So, Miss Norma, can you tell me about the first time you saw the Savoy Ballroom?
Oh, I lived in back of the Savoy Ballroom. And
I saw your whole life.
Well, it was like looking at that curtain. I was on a fire escape. See, we lived in back. We lived on 40th Street. And consequently, there was the ballroom built, and I used to sit on the fire escape and look at the ballroom.
When did you first see the inside of the ballroom?
I was 12 years old, and it was 1934, and I went up to the ballroom with a man by the name of Twist Mouth George. that asked me to come up and dance with him, and he was the world's greatest Lindy Hopper.
Had you ever danced with him before?
No,
Well, how did he know to pick you for a partner?
because I was dancing in the street,
Okay.
and he wanted somebody to come up and dance. I was 12.
Now, this was for a contest, right?
No,
Okay.
it was just somebody he wanted to dance with. It had nothing to do with a contest. Remember, this was an Easter Sunday,
Okay.
and it was a matinee, which opens at 4 o'clock, and there were no air conditioning. So when the band struck up, you could hear it in the street. And like all kids, you just danced because you heard music. That's when he asked me to come up and dance. And I went up to the Savoy Ballroom for the first time in my life. I was 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
What was it like to dance with Twist Mouth?
Oh, I thought I was better than he was.
All right then.
He was the world's greatest.
Yeah.
I mean, he created the whole Lindy Hop thing. And I had been I've been seeing them do it, I just used to watch, but in those days I can watch somebody do something, and that's what you did. That's how you learned how to do anything.
You pick it up.
You just picked it up.
Yeah. And did you ever dance with him again after
No.
that? Really?
No, he put me on his shoulders and took me back out and threw me back out in the street. I wasn't allowed to go into the Savoy.
How old did you have to be to get into the Savoy
I
Ballroom?
had to be 18.
Okay. Was that true when you started Sugar? You had to be 18?
Yes, it was.
How old were you when you first went to the Savoy?
Well, I was younger, but it was in the daytime.
Oh, okay.
They occasionally they would have dances on a Saturday for teenagers, and I was fortunate to go up there one Saturday.
I see.
And
Listen, Sugar, was that Willie Bryant's broadcast that he used to have
right,
for
yes,
kids?
Yes,
Yeah,
on the
because
radio.
he did something with Lindy Hoppers, and what was that, daytime?
That was in the daytime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were doing, but we went up there and
Right.
we were dancing. And they had a live band,
Right.
And so then that was the first time I saw the dancing itself.
Right.
And after that, I was attracted. I loved musicals,
Right.
so I would go to movies and watch the musicals. And that's when I saw the Lindy Hop. When I saw Whitey's Lindy Hoppers
Oh, really?
But we weren't Whitey's Lindy
Yes.
Hoppers then.
in Hells a Poppin'.
But that was 1930s. That was 1941.
I know, but I didn't see the movie until 44.
They were playing the movie again.
And
so
that's
you
when
saw-
that's when I saw the movie.
Did you know you were going to see Lindy Hopping in the movie, or did you just go to see a
No,
movie?
it was a musical. I used to go to. I loved musicals because
Okay.
I was a tap dancer at the time.
Oh.
So I
That
loved
was
the
when-
musicals.
But that was when you saw it, when it was, you saw the whole movie.
Yes.
And the dance was in the movie.
Right.
Well, the dance, see what they did, they called the dance the Hells a Poppin', but it was not. The Hells a Poppin' was a movie
Yeah.
starring Olsen and
And
Johnson.
Johnson,
Yeah.
It was their movie.
Yeah.
And how the dance became Hells a Poppin', you say, if Olsen and Johnson come out of their grave and heard that, they would shoot somebody. It was their movie. And
Yeah.
you Lindy Hoppers gave the dance the name.
You know what we
Hells
call the clip that name, because
That
the
clip.
clip is from that movie.
Hells a Poppin',
So I
yeah.
don't think people say like, oh, they're doing Hells a Poppin'. We say that clip is from the movie Hells a Poppin'.
No, only person that know that, but most people call it Hells a Poppin'.
They
Okay.
do. Yeah.
You know what I said?
That's what I hear now. That's what we hear a lot now.
Olsen and
They call
Johnson,
it the dance,
it was
Hells a
a
Poppin'.
movie called Hells a Poppin'.
And it was a Broadway show before that, am I right?
5
Right.
years.
And speaking of Broadway shows and musicals, because
Right.
when you said musicals, Jean was nodding her head. I have to ask Jean, what brought you to Hollywood in the first place? What brought you out of your small town to Hollywood? Were you attracted to show business? Was that an interest?
Always show business and movies and music and dancing, even as a child. But I
That's
want
where
to.
pretty girls went. They went to Hollywood.
Yeah, we
They
went
would wanna
Hollywood.
get in the movies.
That was the magic word,
Exactly.
Hollywood.
Exactly.
Going to Hollywood? Oh my God! And to think that we actually, little mother brought us to Hollywood from our little town of Santa Maria. I won a big contest in Santa Maria. The local towns had a big contest. It was just a kid. Yeah, I really
But that
was.
was how most
I really
of
was. I was just a kid, and I entered that. and God bless it, I won it. And then Mother said, okay, we're moving to Hollywood now, and you can
That's
you're
the
gonna
real
be a big
story
star
of
now, so.
Hollywood. You know, yeah. Most girls won contests. And when they won a contest, they went straight to Hollywood.
That's true.
That's it.
And if they were pretty, they went to Hollywood, no question about it. So, we weren't even in the running. We weren't.
Well, also Norma Jean was already out in California. So how far was it? How far was Hollywood from where you grew up?
Oh, so from Santa Maria, not far. It took a couple hours, or about 3 hours, I think,
And back
to drive.
then, yeah,
and
to
we
drive.
would go from Santa Maria into Hollywood just to learn the latest steps, to get those steps and learn, and then bring them back to Santa Maria and put our little spin on them. And that kind of started it all.
But you got a chance to do a lot of musicals, though. Didn't you? I mean, when you got to Hollywood, you had the opportunity to do, because Hollywood was all musicals in those days, wasn't it?
Only by winning that contest. That's how it happened. If I had not won that contest, I doubt if I would have made it in. Probably not. But,
And this was a dance contest that you entered with your brother, is that right? Was it with your brother? No, it was with someone else.
No.
Who were you dancing with in the contest?
He, God, if I could remember his name.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm sorry.
By winning this contest, the prize was a cameo in the show. Well, the fellow that I was dancing with was a little older than what they would need for the movie. That was going to be the big prize, and so that's how unfortunately, it still wasn't my brother. But a couple of the wonderful dancers that I knew so well, Lenny Smith, Don Gallagher, from my time we were all dancing, we got a hold of them and brought them in to be my partners in the movie. Oh boy, how lucky can you get?
Ralph? Did you know hers? When we met in Germany,
Norma.
that you danced with? Did you dance with him in Hollywood?
Remember
the one, the kid that was with
Norma.
No. That was later, like lots later. But anyway, Lenny Smith and Don Gallagher, they were my partners in this movie, and we danced together like every night. We were all dancing every place, wherever the big bands were. That's where we were. I don't care where it was or what time of day or night we were there. And let's face it, we all did that. So anyway, that was...
You were all addicted, that's right. I mean, Norma, you just had it in your backyard. So the Savoy was right there. Sugar, where were you living when you were going to the Savoy?
I lived in Harlem.
Okay.
But I lived 115th Street, and,
Okay.
and Savoy was 140th Street.
We call that downtown, Sugar.
Yep. Downtown. Yep. Yeah.
I understand. So you had already been going to the Savoy Ballroom before you saw the clip from the movie Hell's a Poppin'.
Well, just that the daytime, the teenage thing.
So were people not
I didn't know
doing-
anything of the Lindy Hoppers or anything else.
So what were people doing at the Savoy when you went to the matinee dances?
Well, it was the teenagers, and we were dancing the way we danced then.
Okay.
You know,
Willie Bryant had
and we did a little
radio show.
two-step type things, swing outs or what have you.
I
you
see,
know,
I
yeah.
see.
And then when I saw it in the movies, well, I said, I've got to learn this.
Yeah.
And my partner and I, we would sit in the movie all day long, because then you saw the movies over and over again, not like today. And just to see that clip of the Whiteys and the Hoppers. And then we would go in Central Park and try to figure out how they did those steps. And that's how I started Lindy.
Wow. Well, Jean talked about her big break. That was this contest. Sugar, what do you feel like your big break was? What got you into the Savoy doing Lindy Hop?
My partner and I, we won a dance contest in Central Park at the band shell. And
when was that?
It was 1945.
Okay.
And a lady came over to me and she says, "You two are very good." She said, "You're good enough to be in the Harvest Moonball." And I said, "What is the Harvest Moonball?" So she said, "It's a big dance. It's a big contest that's given every year by the Daily News newspaper in New York, and it's held at Madison Square Garden." So she said, "Go down to the news building on 42nd Street, and you can get the information." So that's what I did. my partner and I went down to 42nd Street to the news building, and we said, we want to enter in the Harvest Moon Ball. So they said, where do you live? So we said, Harlem. So he says, well, you're too late for the preliminaries at the Savoy in Harlem, but you can enter in Roseland Ballroom.
Oh.
So at the time, there was 3 ballrooms that was entered in the Harvest Moon Ball. There was Roseland Ballroom, which was downtown on Broadway, which was all white. Glen Island Casino, which was in Long Island, which was all white. And the Savoy Ballroom, where the black dancers danced. So we went to Roseland for the preliminaries. And we were a little nervous because there was a black and white thing going on at that time.
Now, was Roseland integrated?
No,
No, it was not.
never.
So you were
But
still
I had
able
no
to do the
problem.
contest anyway?
Yes, we walked up and we signed
Interesting.
up, and that night we showed up and we danced in the contest.
Interesting.
And that night we won 2nd place, but it was never recorded. It wasn't in the papers. It was never recorded anywhere. But I didn't find out about that until years later,
Yep.
that it was never recorded, because we got 2nd prize that night. And all I knew is that we were able to be in the finals because we were chosen that night. Yeah. So we danced at Madison Square Garden in 1945.
And did
for
you
the
have
first
to
time.
represent your ballroom? Did you have to represent
And
Roseland?
to dance with the Roseland Ball. And that's where I saw the Savoy Lindy Hop.
Interesting.
That's where I saw them. Because when we were rehearsing, you know, each ballroom, you take the floor and they set the music for you, whatever music you want. So when I saw the Savoy Ballroom and the music was upstairs, I said, that's the music I want to dance to. I told my partner. So when I went up there, I told them, you know, pick it up. And they said, no, you have to dance according to the rest of the couples on the floor. So we had to dance slower. So,
Did you meet any of the Savoy Ballroom dancers that night?
no, I did not.
Okay.
And I tried to go up to the Savoy one night.
Yeah.
And I got to the door and the bouncer says, where are you going? Where's your mother? I said, my mother's home. Well, you're not going upstairs.
How old were you then?
15.
Oh my God. So you were 15 when you were in the Harvest Moon Ball representing the Roseland Ballroom,
Yeah,
and you had to wait 3 years till you could go to the Savoy?
yeah. I had on socks, no makeup. And he says, you're not going upstairs. I said, how old do I have to be? He said, 18. I said, I'll be back. And on my birthday, when I was 18, I went to the door, and the bouncer said, where are you going? I said, here's my birth certificate. I'm 18 years old. I'm going upstairs.
Now,
I went in that night, and I was there every night until it closed, 1958.
Now, Norma, you represented the Savoy Ballroom at the Harvest Moon Ball, am I correct? Did you ever go to the Harvest Moon Ball?
Yes, I was in all of them up until 1940.
When did you start doing the Harvest Moon Ball?
1935.
Here we go, so standing room can hear you.
We did the first one. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
All right. And was your partner the same for all of those?
No, every time there was a different part.
Every time different. And were you picking your partner, or was Whitey already picking your partner for you?
Well, you just change partners. He influenced something, but you always chose your partners. It was who had the opportune moment. One year I was with somebody. Every year was different. But we were the beginning of all the Harvest Moon Ball, period. 1935, 1936, 1937, 1938. We went into the Lower State 1940 with all 3 Lindy Hop teams.
I see.
That was the end of that period, because now we're in another phase of dancing. Ed Sullivan had a newspaper in those days called, what was the column that Ed Sullivan had in the Daily News?
I don't remember
Ed Sullivan.
name. I don't remember the name.
He had a newspaper column, and it was called, that was the name of the show. What was it? Talk of the Town. He had a newspaper column, and he was the MC at the Harvest Moon Ball.
Yeah.
I see.
So every year, the Harvest Moon Ball would take the you had 5 categories.
Yeah.
You had the waltz, the foxtrot, the tango, the rumba, the Lindy Hop. The champion of all of these would dance together, and that champion of all the five would become the all-around champion.
And would they dance on
Now-
the Ed Sullivan Show?
No, and see, at the end of after the contest, Ed Sullivan would take the champions into the Lower State.
Now, what's that?
The Lower State was a theater in New York.
I see.
And he did a show called Talk of the Town, which featured the Harvest Moon Ball winners.
Was he the producer? Was he
was
making
the-
a bunch of money off
He
you
was
guys?
the producer. Well,
Okay.
that's how he went to television. You know the Ed Sullivan Show?
Yep.
Well, that's what started it.
I see.
Did he make a ton of money?
Well, I know he did on TV.
Well, that's how he got to television.
He started with
He
these
started
shows.
at the Harvest Moon Ball, and that came out of Talk of the Town.
So how many times did you dance at this theater for this show that Ed Sullivan
but
put on?
we did the show in 1940 when Thompson Wilder won the championship, and there was always an issue at the Moon Ball when the different tempos and blah blah blah. So Sullivan been hearing these year after year, and he got just sick and tired of this fight between white dancers wanted one tempo, black dancers wanted another tempo. It was a big issue. So this year, when they had the Thompson Wilder won the top prize, Frankie Manning won the second prize, Norma Miller won the third prize. We were always second and third between me and Frankie. We battled out these prizes.
Yeah.
We couldn't believe it. So Ed Sullivan said, look, I'm going to take all three teams into the Lower State. This was the final time when the first time three Lindy Hop teams appeared at the theater in Lower State.
I see. And did you dance
Thompson
together?
Wilder was the champion. Now, when they got, each dance came out and danced, and when the Lindy Hop came out, originally, I would open, Frankie would follow me, and tops of the champion.
So third,
would be
second, and
third.
first. Mhm.
That was the first show. The second show was tops open, I followed tops, and Frankie Manning closed, because no one in those days could ever follow Frankie Manning in the theater. No one. There was no contest. When the music hit, forget it. And so Tops and Wilder just could not come, and they're the champion. And here come this guy.
And they're the opener now. Yep.
Sweetie, and Frankie closed that show. No one, I tell anybody, you ever dance with Frankie Manning when the music hit, you better be ready. And so that's what happened, and that was how we went from there and we started traveling with her for Waters.
Because of that show, she saw you in that show?
I guess, no, she came to the Savoy to learn how to do the Lindy.
I see.
See, in those days, if you didn't have a Lindy Hop team in your show, you just didn't have a show. We played Radio City, Roxy, Strand, Paramount. We played every major theater you didn't go out without Lindy Hop. So she's a Broadway star. She's getting ready to go on the road. So she came to the Savoy herself to learn how to do the Lindy Hop, because she wanted to do the Lindy Hop in her show. And she came and met Whitey. Boy, was that a meeting. You couldn't believe that day. I mean, all hell broke loose. Said, what the hell? A major star walked through the Savoy. Can you imagine it? What? I mean, we're talking major.
Yeah.
And when she walked, she was a stallion. I mean, bitch walked in and said, ooh, well, that's, honey. She had a presence.
Yeah.
Well, she was she did a Broadway show with, and you know who was her co-star? Eleanor Powell. These were two. Eleanor, do you know who Eleanor Powell was?
Oh, yes.
Honey, listen. So she had to learn the Lindy Hop, because you didn't take a show out and not have a Lindy Hop. But she wanted to do the Lindy Hop.
I see. She wanted to be worked into your number.
Exactly. So what she did, she came to the Savoy, and Whitey gave her Frankie to teach her how to do the Lindy. No one could touch her but Frankie. And she came with a man by the name of Archie Savage. I taught Archie Savage, her partner, how to dance. So that me and Frankie taught Ethel Waters and Archie how to do the Lindy Hop. So for her show. And that was how we played the Paramount Theater from New York all the way to California.
Was that the first time you've been to California?
Yeah.
That's the way you got out there, was with At the Water
We
Show.
were at the water show. And
What a way to go.
We
Yeah.
played the Paramount Theater, and at the time, they were making Day at the Races.
Mm-hmm.
See, and so they had a big colored scene in Day at the Races. So they decided when they saw us to add us to the scene to finish that, make that scene complete. Because remember, no one had ever seen the Lindy Hop.
Now, how did they say you to? So they saw At the Water Show, and when I say they, is this the producers, or is this,
guess so.
or is this the Marx Brothers?
No, the Marx Brothers was added. They were making a movie. They had finished a movie. It was a
Okay.
wrap.
I see. So they were
So
done. They were done with the
everything was
movie.
done. And they said they brought us in an extra 3 days and brought the whole dance, the whole black scene back to recreate that scene. But it was horse racing. It was in a stable or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was in some kind of stable.
Yep.
And of course, Harpo Marx was the only one of the Marx Brothers that represented the Marx Brothers in the scene. If you ever see the scene, and Groucho and Chico, they were added afterwards. But the point was, it completed that scene, and that was because we were at the Paramount Theater in Los Angeles.
Now, where were you filming? Were you
We were
at
filming at-
MGM or?
Was it Universal? Was it Universal? Was it Paramount that did?
MGM.
It was MGM.
It was MGM.
Biggest movie studio in the world at the time.
Now, Jean, were you around MGM at the time? Like around the time that Norma's talking about? You were probably a little bit later.
She wasn't even dancing then.
I
This
know.
was 1937.
I'm so in awe. I am just listening. I think, oh
But you
my
weren't-
God.
You weren't Lindy Hop in then.
I know.
I mean,
I was in the
she came into Lindy Hop after Veloz and Yolando.
She came into Lindy Hop after you did. That is correct, but in the
Yeah, but
40s.
this is after Veloz and Yolando.
No, it's not. It's before then. It's in the
Oh, you were
40s.
before that? I
Yeah.
thought you were after that.
No, before.
So, Jean, did you work on MGM studios ever? Like, were you in the big studios?
MGM? Oh God, yeah, that's very exciting.
'cause
Yeah.
they did all the music.
What was
That's where
MGM's
that-
studio lot like
Yeah, that's-
compared to the other ones? Was it bigger, smaller?
Big. Oh yeah, big.
It's huge?
MGM. Oh, big. Big. Wonderful.
Well, you should describe it to us because we weren't there back then.
Yeah. You remember they said MGM had more stars on MGM than they had in the heavens? Remember that
True.
scene? You remember there's a picture, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So when you were on the lot, just hanging out, would you see stars walk by?
So I tell you,
To see movie stars.
just me too. Believe me, me too.
They went to the commissary.
No.
I'd stand in the free and watch them come out for lunch because everybody goes for lunch. And
To
and
the
they would-
commissary.
Yeah.
That's a place.
Right, and so I'd be there like this, trying to see movies. That's how I saw Clark Gable. That me I saw Clark Gable.
I almost
saw
fainted.
William
I almost
Powell.
fainted.
I saw William Powell.
Yeah.
And I was in the room one day, sneaking in a room like this, I'm peeping, and it was Charles Boyer putting on his toupee.
Oh no.
And he turned around and he saw me looking at him. And I'm so into Charles Boyer like that. I mean, we were movie star struck. You know,
Absolutely.
imagine seeing a movie, just not even talking, but
Yeah.
I caught him putting on his and he was so charming. He said, "Oh, hello."
And imagine me. I was in the commissary, leaving the commissary.
Now, is the
and
commissary
here
like the
comes-
cafeteria?
Here comes
Yeah,
Clark
on
Gable
the
in,
set.
and I'm here, and he's coming into the commissary. I almost fainted.
Who was it? Yeah. Clark Gable. Listen, in those days, Clark Gable stopped all women's hearts. That's the name Clark Gable.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he was the.
Yeah.
He was the movie star of the. No question, no one was ever bigger than. Not even Spencer Tracy was bigger than Clark Gable.
Yeah.
He had a magic,
Yeah.
and you could see why they. When you saw that, you see why they picked him for Gone with the Wind.
Oh.
You know, when
Yeah.
you know, you knew he was Red Butler
Yeah.
from birth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you read the book?
No, I saw the movie.
You didn't read the book?
No, I saw the movie.
Because when you read the book, you saw Clark Gable.
Ah.
Did you read Gone with the Wind?
No.
Did any of you read Gone with the
I
Wind?
think we all have homework. Everyone, go read Gone with the Wind. It was a big hit. It was a big hit. Not just the movie. Jean, did you ever have a certain star that you were hoping to see? Did you have like a favorite star that you got to work with, or
God,
that
I
you
was
saw
so
at the commissary?
starstruck. I love them all, really.
Yeah.
Really, one more than another. I don't know.
You really
Tyro
was-
Power,
yeah,
Clark
'cause we
Gable.
went to movies in
Vincent,
those
I mean,
days.
lived in the movie houses all the time.
Yeah.
It
Because
was.
it was our era, you know. Well, say what you're going to say to us.
Okay. Dancing in a little club in Hollywood with my little brother, 91 years old, my baby brother. He is now, not then. So we were in a contest, and like all of our dancers, and this was attracting the stars that loved to come in and wanted to see this new dance that everybody was so talking about, so crazy about. And so we were in a contest, and we won it, and we found out that Gene Kelly was in the audience, and that at the end of the contest, he asked us to come over to his table. He introduced himself, had us sit at the table. It gives me a chill right now when I think about it, because he's so charming and so kind. And he wanted, tell me about the dance. He says, I have to tell you, you kids are, how's the word he used? Stylists. Stylists? You have a style. And he proceeded to talk to us and encourage us and tell us how wonderful, of course we love that, told us how wonderful we were, and we just sat there and, you know, whatever you say, Gene, we were so happy. It was a magic time. We had a lot of wonderful stars that came in. Even my to-be husband, Frank Veloz, of the very famous team of Veloz and Yolanda, was looking for a new partner at that time because his wife, Yolanda, had it. She said, I don't want to dance anymore. You go out and find another partner. And so he was looking, and he saw me dancing and all of the other dancers and everything, and suggested that maybe I should come to the studio. I can't remember the words. You know, that he was looking, and I said, okay, I'll be there, which I did. I came and talked to me quite a while, and he says, I'm going to put you through my training classes, teachers' training classes, so you'll learn everything, all the dance steps, everything, and we'll see. So I did. I went through probably 3 training classes, everything, every one of the dances, so I could do them, girls' part, man's part, whatever. And then he said, okay, we're going to start rehearsing, and I'm thinking of making you my partner. Of course, I fainted again on the spot. It was, again, a magic time for me. Timing is everything, believe me. Isn't that the truth?
Oh, yeah.
Timing is
But
everything.
what's amazing, Veloz and Yolanda were the top dance teams.
Yeah.
I mean, the top. There was nothing more eloquent. And they, you know, you hear the name Veloz and Yolanda. They did a movie that they were featured in.
Pride of the Yankees. Pride of the Yankees.
Yeah. They were just, listen, they were at the top.
Tango they did.
In those days, they were dance teams. And Veloz and Yolanda was at the top of the chart. There was no question about it. Even I recognized Veloz and Yolanda.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now picture this. He's looking for a new partner. He's danced his wife, the most gorgeous woman in the world.
Gorgeous.
He had her gowns. He designed the gowns, had them made, solid sequin gowns, beaded and whatever. He's looking for a new partner, and he finally decides, I'm getting a chill again. He decides that, okay, I'm going to train you.
Where you guys going?
We're going to.
Okay, bye.
Norma Miller's not shy. I hope you guys know that. So you can't
Good luck.
leave. You can't leave till the end, unless you have a very good excuse. I'm sorry, Jean. Go ahead. He's looking for a new partner. Yolanda was gorgeous, had these gowns.
Just think about it visually. That gorgeous man, the internationally famous dance team, and he's looking for a partner. Timing again is everything. And started rehearsing with me. I had the sorest body muscles in the whole wide world. He was so strong I had to learn lifts and throws and this and that and everything. And oh my, anyway, what's that?
This is such a good thing to bring up to show that, of course we see the glamorous side of what you guys did. We see old TV clips and movie clips, and that was after, weeks and weeks, months of rehearsing.
Excruciating pain.
And years of practice. And I think for us, it's very easy to see these clips and just say, it came naturally to them. They just did it. They just were born at the right time. Sugar, can I ask you, what was your life like practicing? Or did you think of it as practicing? Because you said you were at the Savoy every single day. I know that the Savoy had dances at night, but that they also, were open during the day to practice for dedicated dancers. What was that like?
In the daytime, we would go up to the Savoy, and the dancers that were popular at night, they would come up in the daytime to teach the ones that was trying to learn.
Interesting.
And we would go to Savoy maybe say like 10 to maybe 2 in the afternoon or 3. And they would come up and show us steps, and we would try to learn them, And that's how we put our routines together. That's how we picked our partners. Partners picked us. So this is what we did in the daytime. And
was
then
that on weekdays or every day?
Every day, 7 days a week.
Oh my God.
There was no weekend. It was every day, 7 days a week. And then at night, we would go home, say 3 o'clock, go home, and I'd feed my babies, and get them ready for bed and so forth, and I'd get dressed to go back at night. And we would go back from 10 to 3 in the morning. Every day, every night. This was our second family, our second home.
Yeah.
And this is what we did. That's what I did from 1948 to 1958.
So with that
Till
kind
it
of
closed.
schedule, with that kind of schedule, all the people who were practicing and the people who were coming down to teach, those weren't people with 9-to-5 jobs, right? Show business was their job.
No, some of them had jobs. Some of them had jobs, One of our dancers, Lee Moats, he washed windows in Empire State Building,
Really?
which nobody knew. But that's what he did.
He didn't tell you? You didn't? When did you find out?
We found out, that that's what he did. But he didn't talk about it at all, And a lot of them didn't have any jobs, And they was maybe doing handiwork and stuff to get those suits pressed for every night.
Yeah.
Because they ring them up every night. They were wringing wet. But they wore them every night, and they were pressed. They had on a white shirt, and they had on a tie. And
What
that's
was-
what went on every night.
Norma said there was a dress code at the Savoy.
You
What was
never
the
saw
dress
a
code
pair-
like?
You never saw a pair of jeans on the.
No, you had to be
Never.
dressed. You had to be. The guys had on suits, shirts, and ties, and the ladies had on nice dresses or a nice skirt and blouse, but you were dressed.
Well, what were
We
the...
didn't wear heels. We didn't have to wear heels.
Okay.
Because a lot of us were dancing in sneakers, And sometimes the girls, some of them that wore heels, would wear heels to the ballroom and then change into this.
That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Right?
Everyone
right?
bringing your
Yeah.
4 different pairs of shoes to the dance. I
yeah.
understand.
But we would look nice and we were pressed,
What
And-
would get you...
And we wet it up every night.
Yeah, what would get you kicked out, dress code-wise? Were they like, this heel's too high, or your shirt's not pressed, or...
Charlie Buchanan would stand at the top of the stairs, and if you weren't dressed properly, he didn't let you in.
Charlie
the
Buchanan was the
bouncers
manager
also.
or the owner? The manager of the
And
Savoy
the
Ballroom.
bouncers also, you had to be
Charlie
presentable
Buchanan.
or you didn't come in.
In
Yeah.
my day, Charlie
Yeah.
Buchanan stood at the top of the stairs, because we had the colored girls who were the dancers, who was you paid to dance.
You mean the taxi dancers?
They weren't taxi dancers.
What were they?
The
Hostesses.
song is a tense of a dance, but these were hostesses.
Yeah.
And they were there solely, if a man came in and didn't have a partner or didn't come with someone, he would have someone to dance with.
But did it
Charlie
cost...
Buchanan would stand at the top of the stairs And if she wasn't presented right, then she was dressed. She wasn't allowed to come in. And this was the hostesses who couldn't get into the Apollo Theater chorus girls. You had to be a certain color to be at the Apollo Theater, but you could be colored to be a hostess. That was a big difference. This was prior to Pearl Harbor. This is how it was when I went to the Savoy. And we were the one that introduced sneakers on the floor of the Savoy, because that's when they hated us, because we came in with sneakers. And that was a big issue at that time. But everything was an issue. I mean, you think that we had to do, it was amendments that we were voting on. But that was how it was prior. Because remember, I left the ballroom in 1941. I never came back.
Really? The Savoy?
That's right.
I didn't know that.
Nope.
I left and never came back because all our partners was drafted.
Yeah.
So when all our partners was drafted, that's when I said goodbye to the Savoy. Because they wanted us to take the secondary dances.
They wanted you to keep working, but with
who
worse
was
partners.
Left, and what was left was not my cup of tea.
I see.
And so I said goodbye to the Savoy, and I never came back to the Savoy ever. That was my departure.
Now, is that when you formed your own dance group?
That was the beginning of forming a new style of dancing.
And I should ask, because we have, I mean, these legends on this panel were all women, and I should ask, do you feel like it was harder for you as a woman forming your own dance team? Would it have been easier for you if you were a man or a leader?
I was just a better dancer than all the I know what I was producing. And so I was looking, I did the same thing what Whitey did. I did the same thing that what Whitey did. I recruited young dancers.
Were you recruiting from the Savoy?
I got Chad. That's how I had Chaz. Chaz was 17 years old, and that was what I was looking for.
Chaz Young, Frankie Manning's son, if you guys don't know.
Chaz, and everybody had to come up to the caliber of Chaz, and everybody did. You had to be of that caliber to be a Norma Miller dancer. And Chaz was the Miller dancer that would be he was up here. Frankie gave me Chaz. So I did what Whitey did. I had the same thing, but I had 17 and 18-year-old kids. And we got the biggest show in the world. We got Hell's a Poppin'. That was the Broadway show that came out of Roxy.
I see, so you were doing the Broadway show,
Well,
not the movie version.
This was the Roxy show.
I see.
It became a Broadway show because of the show we did. Olsen and Johnson, the Skating Vanities, and the Dancing Waters was the name of the show. We had 24 girls on skates. We played every major arena in America. Everyone from New York all the way out. We played we used to have our own floor we'd carry with us and everything.
And so that was during the war.
Oh, this was, what the hell was this? This was after, well, this was during, see, the war went on, when was the war over?
45.
45. Well, this was between 41 and 45.
Yep.
That period that I was forming a dance act because there were places to play. I filled in all the Lindy Hop jobs. My first job with the Norma Miller dancers, Roxy. That's where the major place where Lindy
That's a
Hop
good
was
place to open.
the Sammy Rauch and Gabe Foster became my managers. You see, because we were in the Roxy, so we played all big arenas because I had a big act. You know, I had to travel with dancers and, oh God, that was a bitch.
Yeah. Was it hard being boss lady?
Oh, I loved it because see, you know what's amazing? The Norma Miller dancers never did Lindy Hop. We didn't do no Lindy Hop. We were jazz dancers. Yeah. And that's what happened. I just had the greatest jazz dance. The girl that Chaz married named Rita, she could dance as good as Chaz. Ooh, I mean,
Did they meet in the Norma Miller Dancers?
they got married in the Norma Miller.
Hey, so you're a matchmaker too.
Yeah, and she had to leave.
She had to leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't have a couple dancing in my act, no.
Because the same rule that Whitey had, right?
That's the rule. No couples, no way. I ain't getting into that. I ain't going down that road for nobody.
Well, speaking of that road, I
Yeah.
think both these other ladies on the panel danced with their husbands at some point. How was that, having your...
You see how that was?
Well, let's see how that was. Sugar, how was it dancing with?
Well, I didn't win
With
the
George.
Harvest Moon Ball until I danced with my husband.
I see. And were you guys together at the time, or were you just dance partners?
No, we were married, and he didn't like Lindy.
Really?
No.
I didn't know that. What did he
would
like?
drop me off at the Savoy, and he would come pick me up to take me home. Sometimes he would come in and maybe dance a couple of dances, but he would dance what we call a ballroom, which was slower, you know. But he didn't like Lindy. It was too rough for him, too, you know. He was very smooth, you know, very smooth, yeah.
So
the
how did you
the
get
guys would watch us when we did ballroom because they loved the way he danced.
So how did you get him to do the Lindy?
I had a fall.
Oh.
We had just did preliminaries, and we had passed the preliminaries to go to Madison Square Garden for the finals in the Harvest Moon Ball. And my partner was Big Nick. He was 6'2", and I was 5'2". And we were getting ready to finish rehearsing that night, and he says, "Okay, let's run through it one more time." And we quit for the night. Okay. So we started doing our routine, and bam, I hit the floor. On my head. I had stitches here, and they had to take me to the hospital, and they had to went to the police station to get my rings, my wedding band cut off my hand and all that stuff. So I said, well, this is the end of my Lindy Hop career, because my husband ain't gonna let me dance no more. Now I know, you know. Because he couldn't stop me from dancing. He didn't want me to Lindy Hop, but he couldn't do nothing about it. So I was home, and I'm convalescing, and I kept saying, I'm not dancing no more, you know, and he would talk to me. He said, why? Why you not going to Lindy anymore, you know? I said, no, because I get hurt, and the kids, and blah, blah, blah. I had 2 kids, you know. He says, what about if I dance with you? Well, I laughed in his face. I bust out laughing. He said, what are you laughing at? I can do that. I said, it's 3 weeks to finals, and you're going to learn Lindy Hop. He said, yes, I'm going to learn Lindy Hop. So we go up to the Savoy, and we start rehearsing. And we're fighting, and we're arguing, and I'm throwing shoes at him, and he would not back down. So the guys saw that he was determined, and they started helping him. And that's how we got it together, and we made a good showing that night. They had our picture in the centerfold of the first paper to come out. They put out a special edition. They used to put out a special edition for the Harvest Moon Ball winners, and they would have them in the centerfold that night. So our picture was in the centerfold. So when I get back to my block, everybody's in the street. They're hollering, oh, you won the Harvest. No, we didn't win. You know, this is our first showing, you know, we made a good showing. But evidently, it was a good showing because they did have our picture in the centerfold.
So you got the centerfold even though we didn't get first place?
Yeah, so that's how I started dancing with my husband.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How long did that last?
Well, we were together for 17 years,
No, I mean,
okay?
how long did you dance together?
We danced together until we won the Harvest Moon Ball.
And
After that, well, I went on the road, and, you know, one thing led to another, and,
when
you
did
know.
you start dancing with Al?
Al was 1980.
Are we talking about Al Mims? Just
I
to
danced
put
with
some
Al Mims.
context for these guys.
Al Mims was my partner
That was
in
the revival.
1980.
Oh,
That was
okay.
the revival, yeah. That was part of the revival of
See,
the
Al
Harvest
was part
Moon
of our
Ball.
group.
Yeah.
And he danced
That's right.
with her. So
Yeah.
this was after we came back from Rio. This is after the war and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
So and now she's dancing with Al. I'm not into Lindy Hop at all now. completely. I'm out of it completely.
Had you not been social dancing, Lindy Hop,
Oh,
after?
well, that's my favorite social. That's how me and Frankie always dance together.
So at like parties and things, you would still be swinging out.
We go out every evening with the place. Hey, Frankie, we're gonna be so and so and so. I never danced with nobody but Frankie, not socially. My only dance part. I never danced with anybody. Nobody danced like Frankie.
Not even Billy? You wouldn't socially dance with
Never
him?
socially.
Really?
Me
You
and
just
Billy
practiced?
Never. Billy danced with his wife socially.
Oh, you danced with Willa Mae. Interesting.
And he and I, it's funny, me and him never danced socially.
Huh.
Me and Frankie danced socially, but that's how Frankie and Al got into my act. And that was the act that became Hills Are Poppin'.
Okay. That's the one that you did at
That
the
was
Roxy.
the act, that's how Frankie got in, because Frankie originally, socially, we don't dance, professionally, we don't dance together. But Whitey wanted to have an act that could get into the movie. And the act we had was good, but Whitey felt if he had Frankie in there, it would make it a better act, which it did.
Now, did you guys have to audition for
Well,
the Olsen and Johnson
but,
movie?
Norma Miller dancers auditioned for Helter Poppin'.
Oh,
We opened the Broadway show in Boston.
okay. So we're talking about the show,
Well,
not
see,
the movie, because it gets confusing.
It was a movie, it was a Broadway show, it was a movie. Helter Poppin' was a lot of things, it was all confused. But the point is, I'm the one that worked with Olsen and Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I was with Olsen and Johnson through all
All the
It
travels.
was a family show. His daughters was in the show. His son-in-law was in the show. That's what made up Helter Poppin'. And I became part of that family.
I see. So they would use
I
you.
had the Norma Miller dancers at that family. But the movie had the Lindy Hoppers in there. That became something different. That became a different thing now. That's how Frankie got in. Willa Mae came in and danced with Al because Frankie wanted Billy and Willa Mae in the act, but they couldn't dance together.
Yep.
Understand? So
Willa Mae and Al didn't usually practice together. It was just for Helter Poppin'?
This was put together solely for her to come into the act.
I see.
She would not be in. They took out two of my teams, which was Joyce and Joe, she was the first one to do the slide on the floor like that.
Yeah, like Ann?
But Joyce was the one that
That was her
created
act?
that.
I see.
See, so when Whitey wanted to change it around, I don't know how he maneuvered that, but it was Whitey, the schemer. Him and Frankie schemed some kind of way. All I know is my act was broken up.
So it was supposed to be the Norma Miller dancers in the movie Hells Are Poppin', is that correct? But it ended up being Whitey's Lindy Hoppers in the movie Hells Are Poppin'.
Whitey's Lindy Hoppers never traveled with Olsen and Johnson. Norma Miller dancers traveled with Olsen and Johnson.
Huh.
I was the person that negotiated all the contracts with Hells Are Poppin', but all of a sudden I'm not in the contract, and all of a sudden Frankie and Whitey is in, and now we get ready to make a movie. Boy, they were slick.
Yeah.
They tricked me. Listen, that's what you got to do. Yeah, exactly. See, they tricked me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know what's going on. All I know, I got new partners. And so, but now Frankie comes in and he takes over that lead, that top team. And no one could, I got to give him credit. Nobody could do it better.
He did a good job.
That's what sold it.
Yep.
That's what sold it. And so I'm not going to argue. I say, well, shit, yeah. And I love dancing with Billy Ricker anyway. We were great together. So I didn't have no problem with that. And that's what made the movie.
Did all three of you, did you find that when it came to business, people booking you, agents, that sort of thing, that they would prefer speaking to men instead of you? Were they always talking to your partner?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Always been, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no question
Oh, yes,
about it.
yes,
It was,
yes.
listen, it was a chauvinistic pigs.
A woman
I don't
didn't
know
want to
if that's a-
negotiate because it involved different negotiation, if you know what I mean. Yes, always in the industry. A lot of
Especially if you're
it.
abroad.
Yes, yes. That's what it was. When
Why is it nobody
when
tried
Sonny
to
Allen
contract with me?
and when we got the the group together, Sonny Allen and the Rockets.
Yes.
Sonny did all our negotiations. And when the agent says, well, we want to see the girls, he showed them photographs. He says, what does the girls do? He told them. He says, well, we'd like to meet them, so you can meet them the first night they appear. We never went to an agent's office. Sonny was managing 4 women, and he had promised our families that he would keep us safe. That's what Sonny did. He kept us safe. We never went to no offices. We never met no agents for lunch or none of that crap. They saw us when they came to see us perform. And it worked out great.
And
we
how
never
was
had
it-
any problems.
How was it for you guys going out on the road? I know you toured a lot with
Yes,
Sonny Allen.
we
I know
did.
you toured a ton.
Yeah.
Jean, were you touring or were you doing most of your work in California? Yeah, most of it in California, because, I mean, all the film stuff was already out there. Did you guys ever do big tours, you and Frank Veloz?
No, we would. He had a chain of dance schools,
Oh.
the Veloz and Yolanda dance schools.
I see.
And
And was
so
that
we
just
would
in
go
California
from
or
one town,
everywhere?
one city to another, to teach and perform
I
for
see.
them. And that was most of my traveling.
So a
That
lot
was
of car
most
time.
on the West Coast.
Yeah.
That wasn't. I think the Far East was Salt Lake City or something, someplace. Anyway, no, we didn't. We really didn't get to do that.
I see. And did you have a type of work that you preferred over others? I know we're running out of time, but I have so many questions for you guys. Did you prefer the stuff on film? Did you prefer the live performances in clubs? Did you prefer teaching? What
How
was your
about
favorite?
everything? There's every part of it that's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's kind of a learning experience. It's an exciting thing. It's a wonderful thing. And you kids out there, you're all kids, you realize that. You've got the whole world ahead of you. I don't care how old you still have it. And I get I have to do this, to look out at a sea of faces. And what I see, they're dance faces. What I see is it's a wonderful thing. It's fresh, it's wonderful, it's kind, it's loving, it's plus a lot of other things. But boy, is it good, is it real. And I've got to see this for most of my 93 years old. Norma, and we all have, and we're really so lucky. We're so fortunate to have had that in our lives. Anyway,
And to
that's
see
my
it come
story.
around.
Oh.
And to see it come around again all over the world. I mean, it's thrilling. I never thought when I started Lindy hopping that I would see Lindy hoppers all over the world at the age of 87.
Yeah.
I just love it. Meeting people from so many different places. This year I met a young man, Barbara and we met a young man in Harang from Madagascar, that was so great, Yeah, we danced with him on his birthday, and it was great.
Yeah.
And
Did both of y'all dance with him?
Yeah.
yes, we did.
You danced with him too, Barbara?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
almost swung him out into the crowd, yeah. I saw it, he had to be careful.
Yeah.
But it's true, Lindy Hop is spread
Yeah.
all over the world.
And it's so great because
And you know, I
you're
said-
bringing all of these people together. That's,
Wait a minute,
that's the
I
beautiful
said
thing
something to
about
Leonard.
it.
Wait a minute, I said something to Leonard.
What'd you say?
I said, who the hell you think is going to be coming over to Sweden to live with some damn Lindy Hop? 59 countries came that
Turns
year.
out everybody's coming.
Yeah.
And not just to Harang in Sweden, here at International Lindy Hop Championships, we've got a lot of countries here. And I know
Great.
that everybody coming here is so grateful that they could spend a little bit of time listening to these living legends of Lindy Hop. Can everyone give it up for Miss Sugar Sullivan, Miss Jean Veloz, and Miss Norma Miller. We really can't clap long enough for you guys. No, you can't cut us off. They gotta keep clapping. They gotta keep clapping. These ladies are living pieces of our swing dance history. If you guys want to learn more about our swing dance history, there's actually, for the first time this year on the 10th anniversary of ILHC, there's a swing dance museum over there with some various items from Harvest Moon Ball and some of the things we talked about today. I want you guys to check that out. I want you guys to say hello to these lovely ladies. Thank them for their presence here. Now that the revival is going nice and strong, there are 59 countries. We're not worried it's going to die, but we are worried that we're going to lose touch with this living piece of history. Thank you guys so much for spending this time with us.
All right, ILHC. In addition to giving one more round of applause to Sugar, Jean, and Norma, I would also like you guys to give a big round of applause to our amazing host of this panel, Naomi Luyama. That was an amazing treat. We are so grateful for all of your time today, and whenever you get to share your experiences with us, we are just eternally grateful and thrilled every time we get to see and hear from you. So thank you, thank you, thank you.